Hello everyone, this is Savion Glover. As NJPAC's dance advisor and proud board member, I'm happy to welcome you to another special event at the Arts Center. I spend a lot of time on Broadway and on the road, but when you see me here on Sarah Vaughan Way, you know I'm back home. And in Newark, I go to NJPAC when I want to see amazing artists in action. Let's do a little business. Please turn off all electronic and mobile devices. We ask that you refrain from using flash photography and any recording equipment during this performance. For your safety, observe the nearest emergency exit. In the event of an emergency, please remain calm and follow instructions. Thank you and enjoy the show. I know you will.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Now, come on. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. So welcome to another Trilogy performance. My name is Roxanne Fontaine, and I am the board chair of the Board of Directors of Trilogy and Opera Company. And on behalf of our entire board, our composer, and all those here performing tonight, I want to welcome you to Sassy. So as many of you may be familiar, Sassy, Sarah Vaughan is a native of the city of Newark, and it is our honor and pleasure to do this performance in remembrance of her. It's pretty monumental because NJPAC is on Sarah Vaughan Way, and we have this opportunity to do a world premiere of this opera called Sassy. So I want to introduce the panelists. What we do, for those of you, is if this is the first time you've attended the Trilogy performance, we like to take a few minutes to tell you all about what the performance is going to be about. So it's usually a few board members. We try not to say as much, and we like to give our composer and our writer an opportunity to tell you about the piece that we're about to see. So I'm going to introduce Lori Arthur, who's another board member, and she'll introduce our other panelists, and we'll have a brief discussion on what this piece is going to be about and what you're going to have an opportunity to see and experience over the next course of an hour or so. So I'm going to turn it over to Lori Arthur.
Thank you, Roxanne. So welcome everybody, and thank you so much for coming. I've been working with Trilogy now for, I don't know, going on 15 years. But this piece is, probably one of the ones I've had the most excitement about. I am a jazz lover. My grandmother taught me about Sarah Vaughan. I was a little young when she was still singing, but I went on and I have some of her music now and just listen to her brilliance. And Diane Reeves, who I know Sarah is her, just her idol or, mentor, that kind of thing. I'm a big follower of her, so I just love, saw Diane last night as a matter of fact, and it just brings me a lot of joy. I'm super excited from what Kevin has shared with us, because as a board, we really don't, sometimes we get to peep in on their practices, but oftentimes they're behind closed doors, and he just tells us about how excited they are. This is a good one. The music is supposed to be fantastic. So I am just delighted to be able to witness this piece with you all. So again, thanks for coming. And to my left is the composer, Mr. Richard Thomspson. So please give him a round of applause. Is Joseph Jones, who is our composer, conductor rather. And what Kevin shared with us, he is conducting this piece from memory. So I'm just, wow. That's what I said. I said, wow. as well. So I'm going to let these two gentlemen talk about, what they put into this piece, why they did it in the way they did it, and all that good stuff. So, gentlemen.
Good evening. Welcome to our premiere of Sassy. Let me give you some background to the piece. I got a phone call from the artistic director of the company, Kevin Maynard, some time ago, and I was pleased and excited and honored to accept the commission to write this piece. And the more I thought about the piece, the more I felt that I really should write it because of my background. My father was a jazz trumpet player, so I grew up hearing a lot of jazz from his record collection. I heard a lot of Duke Ellington, I heard a lot of Bud Powell, which inspired me to play the piano. My dad was a trumpet player, so of course I heard Dizzy Gillespie. And we had a Sarah Vaughan record with many of our favorite songs, some of which are on that album by Diane Reeves. And my background is kind of mixed, because I started off as a classical pianist, and in my 20s I got involved again with jazz. I actually grew up in Scotland. My family was Jamaican. My father played in jazz clubs in London, and he migrated north to Scotland. So I studied piano for a long time. My goal was to be a concert pianist. I did it for a while, and it wasn't quite as satisfying as I thought it was going to be. I wanted to learn jazz properly, so I came to America. I went to Berklee School of Music to study jazz. At a certain point, I thought I would draw on my dual background of jazz and classical music and write in a style that combined both things. I'd have the forms of classical language, forms of classical music, and the language of jazz. And I was very interested to learn that our principal singer who sings the part of Sarah, Lila Hammond, has a similar background. So that was very interesting to me. And I must confess, I didn't know much about Sarah Vaughan's life. I just heard her music, so I did some research, of course, read quite a lot about her. I learned about her life, her personality, her struggles, her involvement with the b-ball players, Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker. I must say that was something I didn't know anything about, so I learned quite a lot in the process of writing this piece. And she was so talented. She had so many things she could do. And of course, being an African-American woman at the time she grew up, she faced the struggles that nearly all African-Americans face. And of course, you don't hear those things when you hear the recordings, but you find out more when you do the research. So in writing the libretto, I wanted to combine information about her life, her personality, the people she worked with, her struggles, to give you a rounded, informative picture of who she was. And I think the last time I saw her on television was in her final months or years where she wasn't very well. I remember she had a live-in nurse or something like that. But in one clip she sang "Send in the Clouds." I was at home watching this, I turned it on by chance actually, and she sang that song, and it reduced me to tears. And I'm sitting at home on the couch thinking, why am I crying? And the reason was obvious. Her musical presence was so powerful that she had the power to move hearts. That to me is the hallmark of a great musician. There are lots of people who have lots of skill, technique, etc. They perform very well, but it's a select few who have the power to move the human heart and soul. If you believe in such things, well, I do. I know I sat there with tears. So that's my objective proof of how great she was. Thank you.
I was a bit of a last-minute addition. I was asked to conduct this about 3 weeks ago. And I got the score, I think I had about 10 days to learn it before the first rehearsal. My background is classical, going back to when I was about 5 years old. I've never really done much jazz. I also didn't really know much about Sarah Vaughan or her life, so I was learning the score and doing research and trying to get in my ear the sound of both Sarah Vaughan and the people that she worked with. New music is difficult in a lot of ways. There are two really dangerous paths. One is to try and be completely avant-garde, reinvent the wheel, be revolutionary in every single measure, and that's often unpleasant. The other is to tread the well-worn paths and follow in the footsteps of Wagner and Verdi and Mozart and Berg and other great opera composers of the last 200-300 years. And that also becomes problematic because the audience goes, oh yes, I've heard this before. I know what this is, okay. So finding a middle ground is not easy. Particularly when you're trying not to sound self-conscious while doing it. For me, the mark of good music is not just, is it listenable, does it say something, is it well constructed, but is it honest, is it sincere? And every bar of this score is sincere. It's honest, it takes a frank look at Vaughan's life, not just professionally, but personally, as a black woman in an America that did not look kindly on black people doing anything, let alone forging their own path, which is what Vaughan did. One of my initial concerns before I saw the score was that it could possibly turn out to be sort of just a review of her music, of what she did. And what Richard has done has been astounding in writing something original, writing something honest, sincere, writing music which captures the spirit of Sarah Vaughan and her music and her life and her times, and does it in a way that we can't help but being drawn in to what was happening in her life, to what was happening around her. I won't give too much away, but there are a lot of themes of finding one's identity. And not because one doesn't know who one is, but because everybody else is constantly saying, you should be this, you should do that, this is what your personality is, this is what your identity is, and saying, no, I'm me, and I'm going to be me. And as musicians, I think we all often struggle with that. Finding your own voice as a composer, finding your own style as a conductor, finding a way to stand out while still honoring the music and not making it all about us when we're playing an instrument or singing. And that's really what this music is about. And it's been an absolute joy to work with the singers. I've worked with the cast for about 2 weeks now. The orchestra sounds wonderful. We've only had a couple of days together and they're just astounding. They're putting in wonderful work. They're musical, they're responsive, and I mean, it's easy when you have truly great music to work with, but it's been a wonderful process.
So as you can hear, they're excited and we're excited, so we're going to get off the stage so that we can have the opportunity to bear witness to the great works and the composition. And so thank you all again for continuing to support Trilogy and Opera Company. We are a Newark-based company, and we do appreciate, as I like to refer, butts in a seat. I am happy to see all of you here. I hope that you continue to support us. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the next group of voices and faces you will see will be from our production of Sassy. Thank you.
think. One girl singer and 16 guys on the road with the Earl Hines band. Just one of the boys, a real musician. Touring in the South, that was bad and scary too. You didn't know what would happen. Jim Crow laws everywhere. drums on the plantation, but we still had our rhythm. We still have our culture, a culture within a culture, with our own identity. We are the avant-garde of black music. You are a part of it. We are second-class citizens here. The police lead us for the sports. Why should we fight Hitler? There is many Hitlers, but here, right here in America, in the so-called Christian I guess the Lord's message of love needs more time. You listen to her all the time. You soar like a bird yourself. You sing notes that other people can't even hear. And you play the piano so well. Say, why don't you play in my groove?
I wish I could play piano like Bud Powell, but my fingers won't keep up with my mind. The moon is the same moon above you, aglow with this cool evening light. It's wonderful night in Tunisia, never does it shine so bright. The stars are glowing the heavens, but only the wise understand. Each wonderful night in Tunisia will guide you to the desert sand. Words fail to tell the tale of blue body to be told. Each night is a different night in a world ages old. The cares of the day seem to vanish. The ending of day brings relief. It's wonderful night in Tunisia, where the world is filled with peace.
this lady sing. She has a great talent. Could you please give her the courtesy of your attention? If you please.
Somewhere there's music, how faint the tune. Somewhere there's heaven, how high the moon. There is no moon above, where love is far away too. Till it comes true, that you love me as I love you. Somewhere there's music, it's where you are. Somewhere there's heaven, how near, how far. The darkest night will shine if you will come to me soon. Until you will be still, my heart, how high the moon. Do-ba-do-do-do, sha-do-ba-do-da-ba-do-you-ah. Do-da-do-ya-do-do, sha-do-ba-do-ya-do-do-ba-do-ah. Sha-ba-do-do-do-do-ba-da, sha-da-do-ba-do-do-ya. The darkest night will shine if you will come to me soon. Until you will be still, my heart. Until you will be still, my heart. Until you will be still, my heart.
This is your favorite disc jockey, Dave Garroway, live in Chicago on WEMAC. Come and meet Sarah Vaughan, a crystalline iridescent star of music rock records. Get her autograph on those music rock records. There's no alive. But not everyone agrees. Here's a review by someone who shall remain nameless. The comedy Negro chanteuse is not the great talent they say she is. Garroway, you don't know what jazz is. all look so desperate. After all, she's definitely not Doris Day or Rosemary Let me shower honesty with my listen words. If you haven't heard her sing, then might as well be sweet. When you are about to stare into the face of beauty, she's original. She finds unexpected depths of tenderness. The divine one transcends our expectations. She breathes new life into the songs we wrote. She finds the soul of the black
so much for being with us here tonight as we celebrate the great lady of Newark, Sarah Vaughan, right? This is all. We thank you for being here with us. It's been a long haul. And we thank Richard Thomspson, who can do miracles in no time whatsoever. Wasn't this music beautiful? Thank you all for coming this evening. We need your support more than ever. More than ever. The cost for this is going out the roof. We love our union guys and they must be paid, and oh my gosh, there's so many things that have to be paid for. We pray, Father God, that you will come and follow us on our next venture as we complete the first ever ring in the city of Newark, in the state of New Jersey. That's right. In German, Girl to Name Room by Vaughan. Then we will do Othello. Then we will follow with a slave opera called Blake in the summer. We will do Othello probably at Symphony Hall. But we will also do 2 new pieces, well actually one more piece after that, on Emmett Till. Right? Then we will come back to the incomparable Frederick Douglass. I want to bring that here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Give all you can. Everything that's in your purse, everything that's in your pocket. Just dump it into something. Just give it to us. It costs so much money to do opera. Lord, have mercy. So the Victoria Foundation said, Kevin, you have to do more than one performance. I said, well, you guys give me one performance fees. God bless them, though, for what they give us. We thank NJ Pack. We thank the city of Newark. We thank the state of New Jersey, which is supporting us. God bless you all. Oh, tonight, we will go to the Trip Hotel and party and have a good time, see one another, compliment one another, and buy drinks for one another. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.